Welcome, everyone. Yeah, look at us rubbing our hands. Vibes are already in because, of course, Ashala is here again. So welcome, Ashala. We're very excited to have you. And
Thank you, both of you.
Yeah, we're all just integrating, coming back from Vedette. It's been a much slower integration than normal. And Ashala, do you want to go ahead and share a bit?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say I'm eternally grateful for so many reasons for meeting these two incredible, exquisite beings in person. It was even better than I could imagine. And yet, didn't it just feel so familiar, right? It's like,
100%.
It was like, oh yeah, you are who you are online, and just a little bit better than that even. When you put the whole picture together, we had a little laugh because they both said to me, "Oh, you're taller than."
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's funny because everyone says that I'm shorter than they expect.
Right. So FYI, I'm about 5'8", so people see me as being this petite little thing. I'm tall.
Yeah, absolutely. Super beautiful. Yeah. And it was Shala's first time to Vedette. And I just want to preface this with every single time I go, it is never the same. It is always unique to those who arrive to share the space, to the current energies going on, which was a lot. And this one was really profound.
It was so profound. So I kind of arrived in the like not right at the beginning, sort of midstream. And just prior to our beautiful sweat lodge ceremony on the evening of the Saturday night. So that was my welcoming and integration. And it just continued to grow in magnitude and profound awakening from that point onwards. For me, I instantly felt at home. I felt so welcomed and cared for and loved and grounded into the space. And the magic was immediate. I mean, even in the sense of like, it felt like ceremony was upon me as soon as I turned off the highway onto that wild road.
That's the first adventure.
That is like the rite of passage. It's like running the gauntlet. And I had a few bumps and bruises. My car had a few bumps and bruises as a result of that, but it's so worth it. And I feel like that's part of the magic and the medicine, is that it isn't super accessible. You have to kind of be willing to go through something to begin that journey. And it always feels like that's the very best kind of medicine journey, is where you have to prepare yourself to go through a bit of a rite of passage and leave something behind, And so we also experienced the reintegration, because of course I did readings for everyone that was there, and did reading for the collective on returning and integrating post full moon in Scorpio, or just as we're coming into the largeness of that full moon in Scorpio, was our reintegration back into normal world, normal time. And I was feeling like we're going to have to go very slowly and not just plug back in. And more than one of us, I understand, had a way that our souls blocked us from plugging back in, even out of habit or necessity or whatever. And my personal way was that I had to go through a big purge. Almost the minute I stepped in the door back home, I went into 24 hours of a big purge of some kind, and couldn't eat and just lay on the couch for all day yesterday.
Yeah. If I didn't have to work yesterday, that would have been me. So yeah, I came back in and had to do a quote, which I just went, this is part of my journey. Let's go. And yeah, it was hard to get back in the car. I was like, I don't get back in the car right away.
Right? Wow. Yeah. And it was like, it felt like we had an instant community. Like it was just an instant feeling of these people, like we could just stay there and never return to reality.
Right? Yes. Well, we had enough food to stay a little longer if we needed to.
Thank you to Tanja. We had the most incredible food. Yes.
Absolutely. And so those of you, we will get photos out. you would not believe the light beings that showed up in many ways for us, and the gifts that we got just from nature. Yeah, so it was quite incredible. So I will do a little share specifically on that with some of the photos so that people can see. But David was there, and Luna, his partner, was there, and she's a freaking goddess in her own right. She's so powerful, and she's so petite and meek and quiet, and you're just like, oh, I see your energy. Yeah, and then we had Allison there, and Allison in her own right. Everybody has so powerful. And Brian got his vest for firekeeping from David, and so that was a big heart opener for him, and stepping in. And Lanny was there as well. Like everyone, Patty, everyone had an amazing experience, and in many different ways. Everyone gets what they need. When you go to Vedette, everyone else gets what they need. It might not be what you wanted, but you get what you need. Yeah. So we're still riding that wave of that full moon, and I know you have cards, so you want to go ahead and share what you got there, Ashala?
I'd love to share, and I'd love to, just because this is my first reading post experience, because as I said, I was so far gone yesterday, like so far gone. Like we were talking about maybe doing the talk later in the afternoon. I would never have been able to.
No, I pulled that right away. I'm like, oh no. No.
So consequently, it's been this really profound, like knowing that it was going to need to be slowly reintegrated, and feeling the collective energy in all of that, like that no matter what we did or didn't do over this full moon, life will never be the same. And I mean, we know this is the case for so many of these important portal transformational nodes that we're going through right now. I mean, just thinking about Scorpio, really, death and rebirth, endings and new beginnings. It's the going to, I was kind of just contemplating a little bit yesterday as I was laying on the couch, and I was feeling it's that going into Scorpio is where we go right down to the dregs of our inner being, and we literally are dredging at sort of, you could almost say, the bottom of the barrel or the bottom of the bucket, which is also where the gold is, right? It's where all the sludge is, but it's also where the gold is. So what have we transformed and healed in this time? I'm going to see if I can tilt the screen down a little bit so you can look at what I'm laying. Oh my goodness. Yikes. Oh, gracious. So lovely. So lovely. Okay. I will, let me put my other light on, and then I'll tilt the screen down. Whoops, that's not going to work.
And we just want to say hi to Shar, Laura, Mel. We got Tango, Carmel. Good to see you guys. And for everybody who's being quiet, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, like, and do share if it's something you feel is relevant, because these messages are always profound.
Hopefully you can see my light just fell over. So
no, that's good. You're good.
Yeah, good, right? All right. So this is us, Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups, this beautiful energy of being, I want to say it's about being in the divine feminine, and it's about being in our most sensitive selves, our most, not vulnerable necessarily, but most open. We've got the Temperance card in the past and the High Priestess in the present. So it's really a lot about, again, as I said, expanding into your most delicate, sensitive, highly intuitive, highly receptive. Receptivity is probably the word I would use for what's just happened to us. We have become these incredible vessels for receptivity. Just have a look here, folks. Around this High Priestess in the center, we have the Queen of Cups and the Ace of Cups on one side.
Wow.
And on the other side, we have the Nine of Cups.
Wow.
Wish fulfilled, the wish card. We have the Knight of Cups, which is the one that carries us in our greatest, I want to say, like, honor. It's the card of honor, honoring ourselves. So honoring our most genuine, gentle version of receptivity and coming into an equilibrium. This is like an alchemy. So whatever you've gone through as a result of this moon cycle, it feels like it's going to continue to wave over you over the next 2 weeks. High Priestess energy is the number 2. We see this dark and light. So we are still being, I want to say, almost cradled in this energy of compassion for self, compassion for others, and profound receptivity. Because with that healer card in the recent past, us showing up as the Queen of Cups, which is, I want to say, the most receptive, gentle, feminine energy. And then that High Priestess in the center, which is our deep knowing and intuition. What an incredible lineup. And then in the potential future, we have 4 of Cups. So the message there is to guard this sanctuary that Spirit has designed for you purposefully over these last week. Spirit has put us into almost like a sanctuary or a cauldron. And they're saying, guard that. Guard the preciousness of that. Don't give that away easily, even over the next 3 or 4 weeks. I want to stretch a little further, even over the next 3 or 4 months. So what we have just perceived, none of the words are feeling right. Proceeded with, processed. It's not, there's not a right word. I'm not getting an easy word for this, because it's still in process. So what we are in process with around that compassion and receptivity that came through is continuing to grow in us. And if you can, again, kind of guard that with a lot of grace and protect it. Don't let the energy of the influences of our cultural dynamics right now, all the distractions, all the have-tos, or worries or thoughts or overthinking or overanalyzing just create so much space.
Yeah. So I'm laughing because of this one. She's going to get to speak next.
Yeah. So like space is required, emotional and interpersonal space. This is also around relationships. So not demanding a lot from others right now. And the more you can give this for the next 4 days, 4 weeks, 4 months. So really protect 4 days, still be relatively protective for the next 4 weeks, and keep the remembering of this protection for about 4 months. And we'll be receiving the most beautiful benefit of this extraordinary portal we've just gone through.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And that's a good reminder too, that I always say when you have expectations of others, you're giving your power away. So just be the observer. Don't absorb. Be the eye of the storm. All the tools that we've given you. But just don't have expectations of others, because we don't know exactly where they're at or what their experience has been and what they've gone through. And so just having compassion without going into that full I need to rescue energy, but just have compassion and let people be heard. Doesn't mean you have to rescue them. Doesn't mean you have to fix it. Mm-hmm. Listen with compassion. That would be, yeah.
Well, it's interesting you saying this, because what I'm getting as well with this 4 of Cups is you can almost a little bit like cover your ears slightly and don't let it settle in too deeply, because everyone, as you were saying, we don't know what they're going through, and guaranteed they're all stewing in their own juices right now. And that's exactly what's meant to be. We're marinating ourselves. We are, and that, so you know, it's interesting just overhearing, like my daughter, and she didn't talk to me much yesterday because she knew I couldn't really respond, but she did come in this morning a little seeing that I was feeling better, and I could just hear that she wanted to tell me some things and just sort of offload a little bit, but I felt so distant from it, and it was really lovely because normally I engage more, you know, and I just sort of listened, and then she just kind of went, okay, well, that's all I have to say. Talk to you later. You know, it was just kind of like she just needed to hear herself say some things.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like if we can look around at the people around us and say, they just need to maybe have like a little sounding board, but we don't need to get involved in what they're saying because they're going through their own process right now.
Yeah.
And if we get involved, if we interfere too much in this kind of a magnitude of what's happening here, my gracious, with all of this, like High Priestess and the healing, they've got, we're all in our own little bubble in a way, being like cooked and transmuted uniquely, individually. So if we get too involved in trying to fix or, you know, respond to each other, we could throw each other off of that.
Yeah.
So
we're all in our own chrysalis. You don't see two caterpillars get in there together. It's an individual job. And
could get pretty messy if they were in there together. Yeah.
She needs to share some things that have been going on for her, which now that she's seen the cards probably lands a little differently.
You know, this weekend was probably the most profound weekend I've experienced with others to date. And, it was such a pleasure to be in the presence of you, Ashala, to know that, the only thing was there was that confirmation that as soon as you arrived, it was definitely all that we knew that it was. And it was a huge connection. It was a knowing. It was knowing that we've done this so many times in so many different ways, forms, fashions. And, I have much to be able to express and bring forth as I continue to allow my experience to continue to, fester or alchemize, through the processes of just the exponentialness of the experience that I witnessed for self. That to know that everyone that was there had their own unique individual experience, given where they were, what it was that they asked to be shown, given what it was that they put their intention or focus to. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm so grateful and appreciative of this beautiful being sitting beside me because I had so much to express. Because my mind was like, and I'm like, calm down, slow down, because I'm still, here. Yeah. That's where I went in from. Yeah. And, the mind always wants to know. It wants to know what just happened. What was that? It's something I've never experienced or anything before. And it was so just powerful and overwhelming that, the mind, from the aspect of the brain, wants to be able to label it or define it because it wants to understand. And so, yesterday when we woke up and I was coming still just processing so much, my mind was like at me. And, all I could do was just express. And she held such beautiful space and allowed me to do that, regardless of what I was speaking to or what I was feeling made sense or not. And for the most part, as we sit here and we speak about others, it's a beautiful thing when you step forward to just be in the space with another, to never have those expectations because they have something to share. We may not understand what that is, where it's coming from, what it's equating to, or anything like that, but allow them that expression. That's the most powerful thing we can do as human beings with another, is allow them that expression, to allow them just to get it out, to get it off their chest, whatever it may be, because this is a lot of pressure. that closing in. You can feel that, we're going into those cocoons, and that cocoon's filling up because it's preparing us for our new rebirth. And let me tell you, what I'm experiencing is mini. It's mini right now. And it's like, I'm coming out, going back in, coming out, going back. And, at some point, as I continue to, let this, alchemize and come forward from my higher heart to express to the mind what it was that I experienced, I will eventually, tell my story. But as you were speaking to as well, right now, I'm keeping it safe and sacred because it's mine.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Well, there's some wisdom to many of the indigenous traditions and ceremonial traditions. They often speak about having a lag time post experience or post ceremony, right? And it's usually at least 3 days, minimum of 3 days before you even speak or do anything around it. It's that just inner percolation time. And this particular portal feels to me like it could easily be extended to 3 weeks, 3 months. Like it feels that big that we are, and I'm speaking for all of us, not just those of us that were at this event, this extraordinary experience, but that we are, something rarefied is underway. And as Norma was expressing, we want to just know what is that. We want to just grab a hold of that and say, okay, I got you. I pinned you down, just like a bug that we spike with a pin, like, okay, I claim you, but it's in process. How can we claim something that isn't actualized yet? It's still in development. So if we stop it and try to freeze it in time and say, okay, I've defined what happened, or I've defined where I'm at, or I know myself, or I know this to be true now, we're literally sort of trying to freeze the process, and that will, potentially challenge it, slow it down. So what we can do is we can express, as I'm reflecting right now, this is how if we talk about our feelings, this is how I feel about what's happening. This is how I feel. These are some of the ideas that are coming from my process that we can share. But to say, I know what just happened, or I know where I'm at. Right?
It's one of those things where just and so to remind everyone, even Norma had to kick her outside. You got your ass outside and bare feet yet today? No. I'm like, all right, let's start with that. And to remember to do that, but it's being really open for anything that's for my highest good. I know nothing, and I'm also open to anything that is for my highest good. Show me, guide me, and just allowing again to operate from the heart and observe. And that's kind of, it's a really profound place to sit, right? To not judge it, to not try and push it, to do that attraction. Don't chase, right? You're going to attract whatever is meant for you is going to come to you based on your resonance right now. And so again, I would say, if you're feeling off kilter, you know what to do. You've been given the tools. Use your tools. Get your toolbox out and do reach out and do share, because in that expression, you're going to hear it differently. You're going to feel it differently. And maybe something new will come in, because if you just let your mind sit there and spin it like a hamster wheel, it becomes hard to process. Maybe it's journaling, maybe it's doing a voice recording, whatever works for you to do that expression so you can hear it again in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unique that you speak about the Scorpio or the Scorpion, because after my experience with the ceremony, that's actually very profound that you spoke to it the way you did, because that's how it feels for me right now. That I stirred the bottom, literally, because of what I experienced for myself, experiencing, seeing within myself those many layers to myself. That it opened me up so much that the curled tail that the Scorpion usually carries around was, it was just like flat. All of it was flat because it was like that illumination. And it was like, wow, so it's beautiful. And knowing that, even though I've been expressing, I know that I'm only expressing what I'm feeling in the moment, like as T was talking about. And it may seem like it's something that I'm feeling that may have some truth to it, but there's not always going to be the fullness of the truth until I can alchemize all that I experienced. So just know that it's good to speak to, because I know that I'm releasing some of these maybe trapped emotions that I may not recognize or realize may still be there, and I'm just expressing. And knowing that I'm not attaching to that expression, I'm just allowing it. And I know it's a more of a freeing way to move those energies. And it's like I said, it's beautiful to have someone that I can go to and just express that, because I know the sooner I release it, the quicker I move through and alchemize and move that energy out for those new expressions that are going to come in and give me more of the fullness of the truth of what I experienced.
Well put.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah, well put. Yeah, super beautiful. So, and that's, the eclipses, never mind. Like that feels so far ago, but they're still really relevant, right? Like how much more can I do one at once? Like clusterfuck comes to mind.
Yeah.
Seriously, the purging and the upgrades and the insights, and it's like stars, right? We're all fallen stars and we're ready to blow. What would the cards say about that?
Yeah, let's have a look at that. Well, I'm hearing that there's something about how do we show up for ourselves in this? Like, obviously, we're creating sacred space, holding emotional space for a process that's still a bit of a mystery. But we all still have to go to work and do our dailies, right? We have all this stuff that it's like, how do you integrate that? How do you walk between the worlds like that? And what can we draw on at this time so that we can, attend to both really relevant, important things? It's important to be in this world and of this world, and yet we're having such world-altering inner processes. Like, how do we hold space for those two realities merging? So I'll lay down the cards again. Let's have a look here. Us, the death card, going through the big changes. And how do we? Oh, okay. I love this. Oh, so Nine of Cups is the answer. 9 of Pentacles in the past, Ace of Wands in the present, and the Sun in the future. 10 of Wands on one side and Knight of Cups
So good.
on the other. Okay, so believe it or not, the way we transition and go make the most of this transitional portal that we're going through is to do daily practices around manifestation, dreams, desires, wish fulfillment. It's if we can take what we're doing is we're letting go of living from a place of the old work ethic, the old energy of we just got to push ourselves into the ground in order to basically keep our head above water. That narrative is literally falling away. It is literally unraveling itself as we speak. And so you might think that in order to protect yourself, you need to stay small, think small, act small. It feels like it's in a way the opposite. We want to dream big, ask for everything you want. Like it is the time for us to really press the request button, press the wish fulfillment button. Just keep asking, keep praying, keep intending. And look, because look at this. We've got the wish fulfilled card. We've got that Knight of Honor that I saw earlier. We've got the activator. So we continue to ask for what we desire, and we keep saying this or better. We just keep up leveling it. This or better, this or better. This is actually, you know, emotionally, we're really, I want to say, coveting this emotional peace that we've been cultivating. We're just really protecting that and not letting this old narrative about back to the grind. There's no more grind. The grind is over. Oh, you do so much. That got the double head nod.
Right? Yeah.
More grind. So we're going to be guided by following, just continuing to express our dreams and our goals. Dream journal, dream vision. We're already at a place we don't realize, but we're already being really cared for in the material. We're still believing that we're not. We're still operating on the old system, or we have been up until very recently operating on this old system of, you know, I've got to just push pedal to the metal in order to, they're saying, execute my plans. What a way of looking at life, right? I'm going to execute my plans. So something has to be killed in order for me to get what I want, what I desire. Like that's that old format. And this is not about executing our plans. This is about weaving our dreams, designing our dreams. And the more we come back to it, so they're just saying night and day, all day long, every day for the next, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, design your dreams, design your dreams, design your dreams. And, they're saying, if you think that you don't have time to do it, think again. Just make time to do that. And it's going to actually help you feel more productive in your your workaday world. The more time you take, the more time you allow. You don't have to take time. You allow time to formulate these dreams and visions. It's almost like this beautiful, they're showing me like a boat or something, that you're designing this ship that's going to carry you to your future.
Well, it ain't Island B. So there's a thing in marketing where you want to take people, you want to take them where they're feeling, and you take them in your boat from Island A where they are to Island B where they want to be.
Dream design.
Yeah, exactly.
And the levity that dreaming gives you so much resource emotionally and energetically and mentally to do your workaday, what you're doing right now. It's just doing. It's just doing stuff. It's not like, we don't need to fixate on it and get into that hamster wheel, executing our plans. No. Goodbye.
Great. So, in given this spread, it just only is just a confirmation for what I've been, what I came into yesterday, that I'm gaining the information and the knowledge of some of the things that I could not come to that position in place to put a confirmation to. But given the conversations that have, been taking place, I'm beginning to see that probably some of the greatest challenge that we may be facing at this point, given the ones who are sitting here and, have a platform that's assisting and guiding and handing the tools to the ones that want to know the truth of this information, is that this empire that you speak to about the execute and what, the old mental frame and mindset that we've been under is gone. It is gone. And a lot of what we are wanting to express is that this is what we've been speaking to this whole time. It's been gone. Now, all we must do is help you understand, the ones that are watching, that you must change your way of thinking. But you must also understand, in order to do that, you must go within first, because it's where you will find the truth of the things that you yourself just spoke to about desire, asking, speaking to that desire, knowing that your dreams will give you the inclinations or the general ideas as to what's going to guide or lead you in the direction of those desires. Because I feel that a lot of what a lot of us are missing is it's already here. The abundance is already here. It's been here. We just haven't been as aware of it until now. The abundance is sitting there waiting for us, but we must meet it where it's at for its truth and its purpose. We can't just sit. We have to find the frequency and those vibrations that move us forward in our ways of thinking, because it must come from the heart, for the heart to guide us to where it is. You see, our pot of gold is there. We just must merely allow the heart to guide us to it, raise our frequency, our vibration to that level that takes us to our abundance.
So beautifully put. So beautifully put. And that it isn't like, it doesn't always look like we think it should, or, like what we define as whatever we think that is, like security or money or resources or this, that, or the other, or whatever. It's like when we align with, as you were saying, that frequency of it's already there. And when we're in our dream body, when we're in our, our light body and imagination, I call it the imagination, where the magic happens, we are raising our frequency so that we can come as a frequency match into that abundance that's already there, which is an abundance of everything: connection, opportunity, gifts, blessings, resources of all different descriptions. Money is just one version of that, and it may be one of the most I want to say janky kind of versions of that, because it's so mixed with so much other energy. And I do believe that we are moving away from that over reliance on that one particular kind of currency. And we are moving into a heart-centered currency where we're just going to see an explosion of contributionism, of gifting, of sharing, of exchanging, of creative collective manifesting, putting our, like the loaves and fishes story from the Bible, we all share what we've got. And next thing you know, there's a huge abundance for all, because we all have different things. So this is where we're steering that magic ship, as you were saying, Tanja, is that it's going towards that future, which if we just focus on a certain kind of currency, it may limit where we can go and how easy it will be to get there. It's like the current paradigm of currency is one of the hardest ways to get there. It really is.
In our boat, our fuel is frequency and our anchor is love. Sorry, I had to add that in. I'm like,
I love, right?
We're building the boat.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And it could be akin to not Noah's Ark, but it would be.
Oh, so much better than Noah's Ark.
Right. No, but I just mean that it has room for everyone.
Norma's Ark.
Sorry?
Norma's Ark.
No. Yeah.
Can I come on your ark, please?
Yeah, no, it's beautiful because it will be a frequency boat. That's what people don't. When you can visualize that where you're at in A, if you're still there and struggling with A, come get on the boat. because the frequency is already there. All we're helping you do is be within that frequency to raise yourself to that place.
Yeah.
So that way we assist you to get to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how much, we were all in that medicine of how much is going on behind the scenes to set the stage for what we want. And if we get small-minded in thinking we have to design the whole thing and we have to be in charge of how that's going to actualize, and there's only a couple of ways it could actualize, like that's where we're unfortunately cutting off, as you were saying, that stream of frequency. So, this isn't just magic and unicorns and believing in magical thinking, although it is magical thinking around opening our hearts. But if you look throughout all of history, the most extraordinary things have usually happened outside of the paradigm, the consensus paradigm of that power dominant model. It's all been around extraordinary synchronicities and alignments and people connecting and somehow magical things taking place. And that's what we look on as these, stories of heroes and heroines throughout history, is where people weren't just succumbing to believing in the power dominant authority model. They were willing to live on the periphery of that and take a risk in envisioning, connecting with their dreams, and then waiting. We have to be willing to sit in the discomfort of that. Like, is it going to happen? Isn't it going to happen? When's it going to happen? How can I make it happen? How can I ensure it's going to happen? We can't ensure it's going to happen because it might already be transforming into something even better.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is, if you have not been taking this in as for you, this is for each of you. Anybody that watches this, this is not just about our weekend. This is about everyone. This is a collective reading for what's going on for everyone right now. And I remind you that this brain-heart coherence, this connection between the brain and the heart, is about feeling your heart and taking your consciousness there. It's about breathing out slower and feeling from here, having gratitude. And every time you feel you're getting and you're hitting a sticking point, come back to the heart and go back to the gratitude and take your deep breath, breathe it out slower, and you'll start to have regular brain-heart coherence, which makes this all so much easier.
Or you can just take yourself and toss yourself out the door onto the ground. Which I probably should have done yesterday, but I was, when you're in it, and I get it. Believe me, I can associate with that. Because like I said, the brain-mind connection, because the brain is working its place where it thinks it's supposed to assist the mind in understanding what's going on, because the brain is your memories. It's a memory bank, and it doesn't always work perfectly. So yeah, it's once you spoke to it, I was like, oh yeah, I guess I should go outside and ground a little bit. That might help, because man, I was in it. I was so in it yesterday. But it felt good to express as well. So I get it.
It's a combination of both. Absolutely.
Well, in these extraordinary minds, which both of you are phenomenally,
as are you.
They have that capacity, to run on overdrive. And I mean, you should see some of the places I've gone in my life with my brain, and even not that far in the past. It's like trying to stop a runaway train or something, it's just like, it just gets going on this kind of ranty something or other. And it's just desperately searching for that answer, which, as Tanja mentioned, can only be found with brain-heart resonance. But until we can drop back into the heart, you're going to just go on a big chasing match to try to get to that thing where you feel like you understand it enough that you can relax. Why not relax first and see if the understanding just naturally emerges?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like a hatching egg. You had such a good analogy with the egg. Share that, Ashala, because I think that's really powerful. Never mind the sun's starting to look like egg-shaped.
What
We
was
had
the
photos
analogy you shared? I
yesterday.
don't remember my egg analogy. Say it.
Oh, well, to look at, so it's like a little chick coming out of the egg and looking at all the shells and going, oh my God, everything's falling apart around here. Instead of realizing it's just come out and it's this beautiful being.
Right, I remember now.
Such a good analogy, right? So your perspective on things, shift your
Because
perspective.
the shell that you were held by, that was important for that phase of your development, which is now no longer necessary.
Right?
That shell is crumbling. It's all you know. So you're there going, oh no, my world is crumbled.
Right? Or the sky is falling. Oh,
Right.
we just watched The Chicken Little because I'd never seen it. So Norma Jean had me watch it. I was like, oh, that's pretty profound. It wasn't just about the sky falling, it was about the alien invasion. I was like, whoa, like they're programming the kids already with this one.
Oh my gosh, right?
And it was the one great thing too about Chicken Little was that even though his description of the sky is falling, because he couldn't speak to specifically what it was that hit him on the head, yet because he could not speak to what it was that he experienced in a way where he was believable, the town people, of course, going crazy throughout the whole thing. Once it was over with and seeing the acorn sitting upon the ground, of course, more misinterpretations took place. And, the poor guy for a year was hassled and haggled and this, that, and the other. And he's like, I just, and when they were asking him questions, he was like, what were we talking about again?
I'm going to go watch Chicken Little now.
Oh, we watched the Boys in the Boat. Anybody need a good movie? Boys in the Boat was a good movie. Thank you.
Wasn't it a great movie?
It's
Yeah.
beautiful, profound.
Yeah, thank you for that. Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, we've got a few minutes left. Let's do a reading for the near future. Say for the next, I know we talked a little bit about it, but I'd love to see what else Spirit has to say about what's coming up for the collective in the next.
So let's say in the next month, like between
Yeah.
now and full moon.
Yeah, I think we're stretching to go any further than a month.
I think you're right. Okay, let's have a look here. So just as you were saying it, the Empress was the card on the top. Beautiful. And then I shuffled really well, and there she is, the first card out of the gate, which is us, the Empress. And what do we need to, what do we need to know about this month? Strength. Past, recent past, present, and potential future. Okay. This, I think, will be very interesting for many of you. Okay. So would it be possible to imagine that the narrative that we've been exposing and I want to say, bringing to justice, which is the card in the center, that we are at that point, we are beyond the point of no return. I mean, we've heard this before, but we're at the point of, we don't really, those of us that are at this place, we don't really need to keep going back and tearing away at that old narrative. It's kind of falling and doing its own. And there will be other people. There's a lot of, I often say with that power dominant model, because it needs to always feed on the energy of others. It doesn't self-generate. So when you get those power dominant, like hungry ghost sort of energies, they often feed on each other. So it's got its own cycle of dissolution and dissemination, that energy of the chaos and the entropy. And it's for many of us, you know, we've needed to ensure that it gets to this point where it is in that self-destruct mode. And the guides are saying it's there. It is there. So it's like we are ready as light warriors, as truth warriors, to turn our attention to the rebuild now. This is the rebuilding time. So this month, it feels like, you know, it has maybe felt like we don't want to take our eye away from what's happening because we want to be sure that we're still holding the accountability mirror really big into those realms. And it does feel like we don't need to go looking for that. So there's something about don't go looking, don't go chasing the you know, the mainstream media narratives, don't go chasing a lot of these stories and headlines and so on. When something comes into your immediate reality, you make an instant boundary, you make an instant like declaration of your sovereignty. But we are really at a point where we can focus on our own well-being. It feels to me it's all about restoring harmony in this. Like, look at the color of these three cards.
I was gonna say, look at the backgrounds are all the same. Like
they are all the same, and it's the Empress, which is, you know, it is the divine feminine in her most earthly exalted state. So it's about it's about enjoying the nature and beauty and food, and but not in an indulgent way. It's about really caring for your health, your physical health, and feeling your strength growing. So whatever it is that gives you restorative strength, we could really see a flourish of our inner strength. So not about being driven to succeed at, you know, whatever your fitness regime is or something like that. It's all about caring for the actual natural strength within. This, having the Empress and the Strength Maiden side by side like this is very rare. And it means that your natural strength, if you give it a chance and you care for, like, this would be a month to listen to what your body asks for. If it wants heavy physical activity, give it a little bit. If it wants to rest on the couch for 3 days, give it that. If it wants to eat certain food for a while and then nothing for a day, and then whatever it's asking you to do, really listen to your own physical body and feel it gaining strength, because we're likely going to feel almost like a superhuman strength coming through. Yeah. And that energy of, again, really reducing any sort of thought, mental process consumption to a bare minimum, at least for the next month, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. People, and just in regards to that, is to remember that even though you believe I can observe this and not absorb it, I'm good, your subconscious does not know the difference, which is why we chose to watch that movie. It was like, let's watch a movie. Oh, Ashala recommended a couple movies. Let's watch one of those. And The Boys in the Boat was the first one we remembered the name of. We're like, there it is. So thank you for that. And it's because we need some uplifting, or we watch nature things, or something about something educational like the fungi movie. Watch things that inspire you, that bring you hope for humanity, versus this new truther movie that's coming out. It's like, no, I won't even watch them, because I'm like, no, I don't need to. Or, did you watch this? It's got so much programming in it. Why would I watch it? Like, why would I put my subconscious, that's not going in? No. So be very cautious about what you're consuming.
Totally. And we've already done it. Like, we've taken in lots of that. We've been the first wave of, you know, holding the justice and the truth. We've held that. And now who's going to, because there will be new truthers coming in all the time. And the first wave they're the ones that are going to get up on that soapbox and just rally the heck out of it. And good on them, right? Like that's how it's meant to be.
Yeah.
We now need to go within and integrate the new energy, the new paradigm. And we are in the position of being some of the first to be actualizing that, because that's how we've designed ourselves. So, graciously move along and let some other newbie truthers that are really gung-ho jump on that soapbox. And we've got lots of other things to engage in that are so valuable, because everyone is going to get to the point in the truther journey where they say, okay, I need an exit ramp, and where the heck are we going with this anyway? Like, where are we all going now? Like, okay, we get it. We're not going that way, but where are we going?
Yeah.
So we are the designers of that new route. And maybe it isn't even a highway. Maybe it is a boat.
Right? Maybe it's a spaceship. Like, who knows?
It certainly is a consciousness. Yeah. And it's a different frequency than that old narrative or the truth narrative. Yeah.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Can we, on this note, I just want to also send some love to Cindy here. So Cindy's in the hospital, 3 days caring about my health at the moment. We're sending you lots of prayers and healing, Cindy. We love you. Absolutely. Yes. Keep visualizing your body and your cells, knowing exactly what they need to do, that they're connecting and they're working together to kick out whatever is no longer working for you.
So what I'm getting for Cindy is either on the 4th day or within 4 days, there's a great, I want to say, upgrade.
Yep.
So really allow yourself to visualize this whole experience as being for your greater good, and that you're going to gather all the goodness out of it. And that's going to propel you through an upgrade.
Beautiful.
It makes such a difference, like, I mean, when I was laying sick all day yesterday, it's a very different type of sick when you say, oh, I saw this coming and I know this is for my greater good. And it's just so calm, right? You're not in the anxiety of, oh my God, what am I going to do? And oh, what if it's this? And what if that happens? And and whatever, blah, 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 right? It's like this is good for me. This is for my greater good. And I don't need to know everything about it. I need to stay with it and see the beauty in it, see the goodness in it. And that often is enough to turn a situation around and allow us to utilize it for our greatest evolution.
Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. And so no matter where you are, you're right where you're supposed to be, everybody. and to just observe that experience as if you're not in it, but you're observing it, and it'll give you a little bit different perspective. And don't be afraid to journal about it or voice record again, however you prefer to express, or if it's art, so that you can see things in a different light. Because as you move that energy, however you can move it at this point, or being outside in nature, because nature always nurtures. Whatever you need to do to shift that energy, move that energy, and get things moving so that you can see another perspective, so you don't feel like you're so in it. Yeah. And we're no longer in it to win it. We're really in it to express it, to allow. We've come from this new place of allowing, and it's such a much more harmonious way to be with nature than this, like, I'm in it to win it. Right?
I'm hearing we're in it to spin it.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's the saying that, as soon as you're born, you start to die. And I'm like, no, as soon as you're born, you start to manifest, heal, alchemize, right? So we do all these things right away. It's not that as soon as you're born, that's bullshit. Yeah, chuck that in the F it bucket. Yeah. Any last words from you, Ashala?
Just overall, such a tremendous sense of gratitude and honor for both of you, for all that you are, all that you believe in and stand for and hold space for in this world. I feel so honored to be sharing in this way with you.
Absolutely. Well, we've got some things up our sleeves. So stay tuned because we will be doing a vedette trip, and we're also talking about something overseas in about a year. So yeah. And we love you all very much. Norma Jean, what would you like to end with?
I'll give you a quick analogy to understand what we mean by be the observer. You remember those times where you're growing up and you were so into a show, you were just like so anticipating what's going to take place. You were in observation. Take that observation that you utilized for those shows in anticipation to see what was about to happen, and use that in your everyday life to see reality. It will reveal itself to you. Understand that everything that's in front of you is a screen. It's up to you as to how much focus you put into that, because you're wanting to see what's taking place, as you would for that show. Use that for the analogy to understand what it means to be in an observable place. Then you're not attached to what you're seeing, but you'll begin to see the truth.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
My little brother, you had to go stand in front of the show and him to get his attention when he was watching something. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Absolutely. All right, Ashala, stay on for a moment. In the meantime, we're going to say goodbye to everyone. We love you. Have a beautiful day. And don't forget to share your nature adventure with us on Telegram. We'd love to see them, or on Facebook. We'd love to see what you're up to out in nature. Yep. All right. Love you guys.